5, 4, 3,
Okay.
2, 1.
My internet is definitely a little slow. It's gonna struggle to load this 15-second video. That's what's gonna happen to me on here. Then we're just gonna skip it and we're gonna go right in. Good morning, everybody, on the ATYL media channels as well as the Slide Job Sal TikTok. Couldn't connect. Oh, we're really gonna do this. What's connecting? We're back. Okay, sorry about that. Good morning, everyone, on the Slide Job Sal TikTok and on the ATYL media channels. Splash and Dash Morning Show. We're glad you're here. I'm catching up on comments on TikTok. You're already in there. We're already getting things fired off today. People got some opinions. I just came back from a big trip down south, so I'm excited to share some of the experiences I had down there, and then also kind of talk a little bit about the race weekend and what we think of things. I mean, professionally opinionated. Not the only thing we do professionally over here, but I have some thoughts this week, and I hope to get all your guys' thoughts. Taylor, what's going on? She's in the Taylor Kitchen is in the TikTok chat right now, and Big Duke Sim Racing, the legend of the virtual speedway, also in the TikTok chat. So if you're missing out, it's unacceptable. Now the title of my stream typically on TikTok is "Make Cup Cars Great Again." We started doing that after last week or 2 weeks ago. So people always come in real hot and they're ready to like fire off on how they think they can fix the cup car, which I think is great because the more ideas we have, the better off we'll be ultimately. We're going to talk a little bit about the All-Star race. There were some good things. There's some good things that are happening with the All-Star race, some confusing things that are happening in the All-Star race. I'm confused about the format and the way it's set up. So, yeah, I don't really know. We're going to learn that together. Adam, good morning, man. How are you? I did enjoy North Carolina. It's always good to get away, get a little reset, hit the button. I have a new collection of sheet metal from the Racing Warehouse that I'll show off to you guys a little bit this morning. We got to see some really cool things, though. We got a sneak peek at Tyler Reddick's scheme. Looks like the one I took. Now they've released the scheme. Let's start with that real quick. They've released this scheme, the Diamond Air Jordan scheme for Texas. Now the photo I have, not that I'm special, I just was in the right place at the right time, has the NASCAR salutes badge on it. So I think they're going to run that scheme again at the Coke 6. So I don't know anything. I took a picture in a place. I'm pretty sure I was allowed to. Hands up. I'm innocent here, I think. So that was really cool to be able to go to 2311. We saw Tyler Reddick in the weight room, just smashing weights. Short King, Mullet King out here just ripping it up. A NASCAR show and telling some hot takes. It will be a good show today. It will be. It will be. I spent way too much money on my trip, so did you see NASCAR Youth Series racing at Dega? I don't think NASCAR wants to improve the track product at certain tracks. Okay, and we're gonna have Chief. We're gonna get you on here as a guest one morning, but we're not gonna do it through TikTok. We're gonna do it a different way. I'm also gonna open up. I'm gonna call them guest applications. Air quotes. I don't know if you can see them. I want to try to do like segments with guests where it's like a quick little 20, 30 minute kind of thing. And then it becomes part of the show in the morning. This way we can kind of fill up our 2-hour time slot that we have to really kind of diversify the show. I have a couple guests in mind, but I also want to pull in people from the audience. That's kind of the whole point of it. So I don't know how we're going to structure it. I'm probably going to make like a Google form and I'm going to put it in my bio on TikTok. And then you just fill it out, like your name, what you want to talk about, who you are, your social handle, whatever. And then I'll go through them, and it depends on how many I have, and we'll start banging them out. Also want to try to get a couple of folks from the racing world that I'm familiar with on the show too, if possible. So, well, this is all very experimental. This is the first time I'm even talking about it really out loud. So we'll get there. We'll get there for sure. So where do we want to start today? Where do we want to start? We want to start with, do we want to start with Talladega, or do we want to do like a little vacation recap? I don't know. Honestly, I'd love to know what everybody thought about Rockingham. Let's start with that. I thought Rockingham was a great place. I thought that was an awesome weekend for trucks and Xfinity. That seemed like it was an awesome race. I didn't get a chance to watch it. It was kind of a little bit ago now, but I hear people in the space talking about, is it ready for a cup date? And people have concerns, rightfully so. Rockingham, though, looked really, really great. My question, though, outside of the racing product, outside of everything else, I'm going to echo a question that Jordan Bianchi asked or brought up, which is, there's nothing wrong with the Southeast dominating circle track racing, oval track racing, but there's a lot of tracks within a stone's throw of Charlotte. And I don't know, I was at Dover last year and they packed that place out. So like, I hope that folks at NASCAR are cognizant of the fact that they have fans in other places too. And I'm not saying don't go to Rockingham. If things look right and things feel good, sure, go. I think it was great for the Xfinity and the Truck Series. I think it should be that way for a couple of years for sure. Taylor, what do you think? I mean, Xfinity and Truck only for now, and then let the tentacles kind of reach out. I think that's the move for me. I don't think this gen car, exactly as we're talking about in the chat, this gen car, I'm not going to complain about it because everybody complains about it. I could sit here and complain for 2 hours about it. We can't. It's because that's not going to do anything. But the car is not designed well for these types of tracks. So we're not going to I wouldn't take the next gen car, the Gen 7 car, and put it at Rockingham and expect you to get as good of a weekend as you got out of the Xfinity and the Truck Series. So I think for now, you kind of keep it in a bottle and you let the trucks and the Xfinity cars run well there and enjoy that racing product for what it is right now. Absolutely. So yes, can Rockingham be that tester for standalone weekends for other series besides Cup? This place sold out for an Xfinity race and a truck race, and an ARCA race. That ARCA race was Banana Town, right? I don't know. I don't pull highlights up because I don't want to get in trouble with the YouTube people. But like the ARCA race, there were cars who were enjoying themselves, and there were people who couldn't wait to go home. Cars were like a half a lap off a pace of each other. It was crazy to watch, though. I think that's entertaining for the fans. Yeah, I think it's really, there's something to be said about all of the things that happened at Rockingham, and the way it was set up and how many people they really were able to pull out, even for testing when they went there earlier in the year. People were amped to get out there and start seeing cars run on track again. But I think it's, Xfinity cars, obviously, they're more you can manipulate them a little better. You can do a little more with them as a driver. You can do a little more with them as a driver. I think now, maybe I got daily downforced. Maybe I got, but I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet from Denny Hamlin that he was like, put me in a Xfinity car to run a super speedway race. Did I see that right? Or am I out of my mind? I'm pretty sure I saw that correctly. Do you think Chase Elliott will be dominant again? If not, do you see Hendrick not renewing his contract? That is a good question too. But yeah, Denny Hamlin, though, wants to run a Talladega or a super speedway in an Xfinity car. This is all of my dreams are coming true, ladies and gentlemen. I did a video a while ago, and last year I had a podcast where we talked about this. What if you took all the Cup drivers and put them in the Xfinity cars? What if you did that? I understand that's not the point of the Xfinity series. This is imagination land. This is not real. But what if you put them all in Xfinity cars? What would the racing look like? I don't know. But people seem to be interested in dipping their toe in different places in the Xfinity series. So hopefully it would be great. I think it would be. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. Rockingham though. We'll. I'm going to try to keep it together today. I don't have notes like I usually do because I'm getting back from vacation and I'm like my squirrel brain is everywhere. So we're going to just kind of go one block at a time here mentally. Even at that rebuild, some Gen 6 cars specifically just for super speedways. I mean, I like that idea. I don't think they're going to do that and run a officially sanctioned cup race with it. The Gen 6s, I think, were some of the best versions of super speedway cars we ever had. You could do a lot in those cars. It kind of it took over the tandem drafting. It kind of made it where guys could move around a lot. It gave guys big runs. The Gen 6s were, for all the problems the Gen 6 had, which, there were some problems, but I think we've all learned through the next gen era that it doesn't matter because this car we have now is just was unprepared for what it's doing or what it's being asked to do. And it's not the car's fault. It's not the car's fault. The car didn't ask for this, But I think big things for Rockingham, for the Rock. Fans really seem to love it. There's so much history at that track. You saw some of the NASCAR alumni out there, and I know Taylor talks about the NASCAR alumni program, and the NASCAR alumni program is awesome if you don't know about it. They started a couple of years ago, and they work to bring these retired drivers back into the fold in one way or another. Get them out at the track. Get some fan engagement with some of these retired drivers. Make them feel like they're still a part of the sport, because without them, like, the heritage of the sport is so important. But without these alumni drivers that, have moved on to other things in life, like, the recent history goes away. And, I see drivers that I like, like Martin Truex Jr. Like, this is a guy I expect to never see again. So it's like, how do you try to keep people's favorite drivers involved in the sport to keep them engaged, even though they don't have their guy in the series anymore? So they've been doing a really great job. And I saw some of that at Rockingham. Saw Kenny Wallace was there with Ken Schrader and just a whole slew of people. It seems like they're really pushing the envelope in that part of the sport where, we can all get to see everybody out there running around, having a good time, meeting with fans and having that engagement. But Rockingham seems like it could be a great one-off weekend for Xfinity and Truck. Again, excited to see what they do with that in the future. And yeah, not a cup race yet. I think we wait. I think we wait a couple of years. I think we got to wait. Almost like a corporate renaissance. Kinda. I don't know about how corporate it is with Kenny Wallace running around, but Dale Jr. is single-handedly supporting the sport and can't keep it up forever. I think Dale Jr.'s influence at the cup level is very strong. There's a lot of other folks who are helping to support, but I think his overall support of racing, oval track racing, has been tremendous. And I think what he's doing with the Cars Tour is something to pay attention to. I never watched late model racing until the Cars Tour came around, and I started to pay more attention to it. I still don't totally understand it. I think in my Northeast brain, I think they're just big modifieds. That's big modifieds with fenders. That's how I see them. They probably got a little more juice than a modified does, but they're a ton of fun to watch. And, Dale Jr. has definitely been a part of why Sal wants to watch them, because there's great drivers. Ryan Newman ran the Cars Tour this weekend. Landon Huffman runs the Cars Tour. If you don't know Landon Huffman, he's cool. I mean, Minnie Tyrell, Butterbean Queen. There's some great personalities in the Cars Tour. Any word on who's going to be the title sponsor for the Xfinity Series next year? Not yet. We hope and pray. We do the summoning circle to hope and pray that Busch is the title sponsor. We hope and pray. We light candles at the church. We go. We get on bended knee and say, dear God, please give us something to celebrate. But there's no official word on who the Xfinity title sponsor will be. I know they're seeking somewhere between like $10 and $15 million for that contract, so it's going to be a big fish. Just depends on who's got the cash to splash, you know. All right, but Rockingham's a good time. Need to do a Ricky Bobby style prayer for it. I did a little Ricky Bobby style prayer in a short form video on TikTok. It's there. Dear God and 10-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus. Yeah, but Rockingham was great. I'm excited to see more of what they do there in the future as they kind of bring back these heritage tracks. I think there's some good things on the horizon there. Talladega. Talladega. I'm gonna DMCA me for singing that song. A lot of ums today. Can't get over the ums. I got a case of them. Talladega, I thought this was the best Talladega race in the Cup Series we've had with the next gen car. A lot of people aren't going to like that. A lot of people aren't going to think that. But I think for what we got, for how it all shook out, for what you can now curb your expectations for what you think Talladega should be. What Talladega is with this generation car, I think this was the best version of the product we were going to get. And I honestly, like, I enjoyed watching it. I curtailed my expectation though. Right out of the gate. Right out of the gate. I thought there was good racing. I thought it was a game of chess, not checkers. And people seem not to understand that it's more of a game of strategy. It's really less about what happens on track and it's more about track position. So I think that makes it more exciting in some ways, where at some tracks, yeah, the car has to be set up a certain way and you can just go blistering past everybody and track. You can move. There's comers and goers. That's a great part of racing. That's part of what makes racing exciting. But for the real like nerd brains, like that love like the strategy and the setup side behind the scenes, like this was a race for the crew chiefs. This was a race for the pit guys. This was a race for the guys in the war room back at the shop. That's what this felt like to me. The Toyotas all come together. The Fords all come together. The Chevys all come together. There's obviously competition within those camps, right? But there's definitely a deeper level of how are we going to, we know we can't do, we know we just can't go out there and pass everybody. So how are we going to innovate to get that track position? And to me, I think that's exciting to some level. And again, I'm not going to complain about the car at Talladega. I'm not going to do it because it is what it is. And the fuel mileage racing is what it is. And going half throttle is what it is. We know this already. It happens. But I thought the racing product we got the entire day was really good. If those lap cars weren't in front of the lead cars, it would have been a better finish. Yeah, it would have been. It probably would have been a different finish too. It's curious to me what they were doing hanging out there. Very conveniently placed at the end of the race. I don't know. But it would have been tough to see Priest win that race and then get disqualified. That would have been really rough. So it's almost to me better that he didn't win, that he got just DQ'd out of a P2 versus DQ'd out of a win. Logano also DQ'd from that P5 spot. What's up, Matt? Good morning. Big W's to Matt real quick. I meant to message Matt back on Instagram. Matt hooked it up at the Hall of Fame. Thank you, Matt. That's part of our vacation recap today. We're going to talk a little bit about our trip, but Matt was a part of that, and I appreciate that very much. Matt was part of that. Taylor was a part of that. Dom was a part of that. We had a nice little vacay, but appreciate everybody being so nice to me while I was down there. But no, Logano gets DQ'd at the P5 spot, right? And then I see a tweet last night from my best friends at Live Fast Motorsports. Love those guys over there, guys and girls. And there's washers stuck in their radiator. Found his mechanical issue. The open car team gets screwed by a big team over a 35-cent washer that goes through their radiator and ends their day. And again, now the 78, the BJ McLeod Mountain Coaster Chevrolet was looking fantastic out on track. Let me tell you, the car looks fantastic. And who doesn't love a good mountain coaster? I never knew mountain coasters existed until I went to Pigeon Forge and I went to Gatlinburg, and I was like, they put a what on the side of a what? I live at sea level, so any roller coaster to me, the last roller coaster I rode ended up in the ocean in the last hurricane. You know what I mean? So you put a roller coaster on the side of a mountain. Talk to me dirty. I like that. Let me know what's going on here. You know, so funny. Their tweet was great, but they had I thought they had a good day at competitively the 78 car until that washer kind of ended their day. I love those guys. They're good people over there. They work hard. Really can't wait to see them back on track again in their limited schedule. Those RFK cars can't catch a break. How do we fix this car on super speedways, short tracks, and road courses? Well, I think, again, we'll get to that in a minute. But I think the cup racing at Talladega played out really well. I think besides those handful of cautions, and people are going to debate like, oh, whose fault was the caution coming into the road? I've heard a couple of videos and podcasts, with the stuff going on with Brad and Kyle Busch and Josh Berry and Ryan Blaney. And listen, I've never driven 200 miles an hour. And I know most people haven't driven 200 miles an hour, much less driven 200 miles an hour around 35 other people driving 200 miles an hour, trying to go from 200 to pit road speed. It's not easy to do this stuff, and mistakes happen. Whether it was Barry checking up and bumping into Bush and getting Bush loose, or it was Brad deciding at the last minute he didn't want to go into pit road, and then Blaney just rolling the dice and trying to get through it without making a problem for anybody and himself, and just getting caught up as an innocent bystander there. It's just a product of this type of racing. Even the stuff with Hamlin and Bell, they're not even up to speed yet, and he's pushing him through turn 2. I thought that was a little premature, but that's what you have to do at super speedways to really get rolling. And I know Hamlin's an aggressive guy. He wants to get out there. He wants to push. He wants to get his guys out front and go. You saw that when all the Toyotas kind of had that off strategy to all pit together. So, that's just a product of the racing. Unfortunately, it collects Busher too. And that hit in the inside wall there. I don't know what they can do on that inside wall. We saw a similar incident with Zilich in the Xfinity race, and we'll get on that in a minute. But that inside wall, I know it's a safer barrier, but I feel like there's a safety change they can make to make it a little bit safer on that inside wall. I don't know what it is. I'm not an engineer, but just something. Those cars look like they get absolutely knocked around, like head first. It's really hard to go nose first on the top wall. You have to really get that thing sideways and then up. The bottom wall, the inside wall, it seems like it's a little easier. But yeah, glad that Christopher Bell was okay and Chris Buescher was okay in that wreck. Honestly, happy there wasn't a big one this weekend. We haven't seen a natural caution or a natural finish without a caution at a super speedway in God knows how long. So while I was a little disappointed that you didn't get to see, I wanted to see on that last lap, I wanted to see Byron and Larson split the 2 and the 60. That's what I wanted to see. I thought maybe without the cars there, they would have tried and took it 4 wide to the finish. But you could see they were trying, and I think the lap cars ahead of them got in the way. The only thing I could think of would be tire barriers. Something soft off down there. I don't know. And then there's the opening there too, right? I don't know if they put something around. I didn't really show it on TV very well. You didn't see much of the race on TV because they were at the commercial break every 2 minutes. We're going to talk about that too. What are we doing going side by side with 11 laps to go? What are we doing? I get it. It's the big money network. We're on Fox. But for the love of God and all that's holy, why are we cutting to side by side with five laps to go? 2 commercial breaks in the last 11 laps. I get it. They're here to make money. It's a money-making enterprise. But they don't cut to the commercial or split screen in the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl. They don't cut to commercial at the end of other sports. Yeah, 15 to go, came back with 11. It's dumb. It's dumb. The last 20 laps of a race, there should be no commercials. Toyota does that little segment, right? Presented commercial free, courtesy of our partners at Toyota Racing. Put that at the end. Put it at the end. The last 20 laps of the race or the last 30 laps of the race, presented by Toyota. Just like Capital One has the white flag, Toyota has the last 20. No commercials in the last 20. Sign it up. I'm here for it. NASCAR has money problems. They got money problems. They got a lot of money. They got too much money. That's the other thing too. People are like, oh, NASCAR's not making money. NASCAR's making money. They're making money. Believe me. I just came back from seeing what the inside of these shops look like. These guys got money. They're doing okay. They're all right. Maybe they don't have as much money as they want to have, but they got money. So Austin Cindric, the super speedway merchant, is your winner at Talladega in that 2 car. I loved Chipper Jones's tweet about Joey Logano MFing him on national television and then him coming back to win. I'm sure that competition meeting yesterday or today was a hoot and hollering good time. I know Penske doesn't like to get caught out like that. Those guys are hot on the radio, though, man. Let me tell you, between Blaney and Logano, they got anger issues they got to work out, or a therapist they got to put on staff or something. Those guys get big mad. I don't know what it is. I understand being passionate, but Joey was pretty upset about that stage loss to a Toyota. I was really hoping for a good Applebee's commercial during that commercial break, a la Talladega Nights. Well, we've got Chili's. We've got the Triple Dipper commercials. The Ride the Dente marketing has been incredible. It almost makes me want to go to Chili's. I'm not going to go, but like it almost makes me want to go. Like if Carson Hocevar was at Chili's, I would go to the Chili's that he was at. But like I'm not quite sold enough to just go to Chili's. Maybe if they put the margarita shaker in the parking lot of a local Chili's, you get me over there to do that. And then I would just stay because I'd be all boozed up and having a good time. The mind of a maniac. You're seeing a blip into the mind of a maniac. Okay, the phone's blowing up. All right. Xfinity race. I'm going to work backwards here. Controversial ending. Austin Hill wins that race. And again, my favorite line, all that for an Austin Hill win. The guy loves super speedways and drafting tracks in the Xfinity series. He seems to be at the right place at the right time, makes those snap, decisions. Really felt bad for Connor Zilisch. I thought he had this thing in the bag. Jesse Love ends up pushing him probably a little too much there and gets him loose, sends him down into the inside wall. Hard hit. Hard hit. So I think the caution was correct. I saw people debating online and even more local than online. You have to call a caution there. That is the correct decision. I understand that the racing product, you don't get to see that green, white checkered or checkered flag finish that you want under green, but you have to call it because God forbid he's really, really injured in that car. I think maybe they should have gone to overtime, but I get it. So we're already on the white flag. Like it's already done. I would have, I don't make the rules, but that is a really tough hit to take on that inside wall. You saw the window net come down for Zilisch, and they said he had some back issues after his soreness. And naturally, you're going 200 and then you're going 0. All that energy is going to have to be dispersed. Unfortunately, it gets dispersed through people's spines sometimes. And it's not an easy thing to recover from. I'm sure he's going to be sore for a couple days. Everybody knows Connor Zilisch loves to take naps. So hopefully he can sleep this one off and rest it up a little bit. If it happened off turn 4, let them race to the checkered. Well, if he had like streaked down through the grass and there wasn't like an impact, if he didn't hit anything, if he was just sliding, you know what I mean? Maybe they didn't have to call it. Maybe they could have let it stay green through the trial. But you got to remember too, that start finish line is at Talladega so far down the track. You know, when they're going through entering turn 3, they're like halfway around the track, technically. Like, you know, it's not like other speedways, if you think about it, or if you don't think about it. But I thought the racing in the Xfinity Series was really great. Friend of Sal's, friend of the show, Daddy Ryan, was out there at the race this weekend for his 30th birthday. Shouts to him. You know, he got to run into Anthony Alfredo after the Xfinity race. Alfredo was frustrated with his day, but had a good one. I think he was a top 10 finisher at Xfinity. We saw a lot of Anthony Alfredo in the Cup Series too. We don't want to diminish that effort. I made a video on Sunday. Greater hero to Italians than Christopher Columbus, Anthony Alfredo. Guy's out here cutting it up, running in first place in the 62 car. The first time the 62 seen the front of the field in how many years? It was great. I loved it. I don't know when that kid gets a full-time ride or a part-time cut ride with something that he can work with. Someday, maybe. He's the most, self-sponsored driver in the sport. So who knows? Maybe someday he'll get that opportunity. But we're here for it when it happens. The Sauce Mafia will rise up. It is what we do. Like a phoenix from the Alfredo sauce. We will rise up and fly. Just as our Italian forefathers intended. But the Xfinity Series, I thought, was great racing too. I thought there was a lot of good action in that race. Not a lot of cautions again. The big one you didn't really see a lot of the big one happen, which honestly I think is better for super speedways. It's not just about smashy, crashy at super speedways. I think there's a lot of strategy that is involved in it, and being able to finish, fairly clean is very gratifying in its own way. The driving is getting better with less wrecks. Yeah, I think the drivers in the Xfinity field now, these are not like rookies. These are guys who've been around. So I think they're more seasoned and more experienced in those cars, and that's why we used to see the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. Oh boy, here they come! It's going to be a smash 'em up derby, and now because there's only so many Cup rides available, guys are sticking around in the Xfinity Series longer. They're not just making a name for themselves, but they're look at Justin Allgaier. He's been in the Xfinity Series forever. The guys are making careers out of the Xfinity Series, which I think is great. I think it provides a lot of good direction for young guys who are coming up into that series. And it's great for veterans who maybe they can't secure that funding to get into a Cup ride, but they can still be at the racetrack every weekend and doing what they love. Hold on. I'm just going to pull up some results here. I want to make sure I get it absolutely correct. We do this every week a little bit. Yeah, so Austin Hill, your winner in the Xfinity Series. Jeb Burton and Jesse Love. That was kind of the photo finish. I think Jeb Burton and that team are actually going to file an appeal to see if they won the race. He was super emotional after, and I get it. I get it. Jeb Burton is on a single car kind of deal. They don't get a lot of chances to win races. So in the opportunity that they have to finish P2 like this, it's huge for them not to win. You're talking 31 thousandths or, thousandths of a second. When they call the caution, decides if they win or lose. So I understand the frustration and the emotions there from him. So Jeb Burton runs hard. He's a hard racer from a racing family. So, if he's upset about not winning, I got to feel for him. But a P2 for that team is a great result for the day. Maybe in hindsight, he'll look back and feel a little bit better about it once it's all said and done. Jesse Love in third, Justin Allgaier in fourth, Matt DiBenedetto scoring a top 5. Another hero of the people. I still think about Matty D almost winning in the Cup Series. I think about his races at Bristol. The guy ran really good. Oh, it's Mario and Luigi in 5th and 6th. It's Matt DiBenedetto and Anthony Alfredo. Imagine those two on the same team. That'd be great. Mario Andretti should buy an Xfinity team and just put DiBenedetto and Alfredo on it together. Just call it Super Mario Motorsports. That'd be cool. Blaine Perkins in 7th. Harrison Burton finished 8th. Creed in 9th. Daniel Dye friend of the show. Haven't seen Daniel in the TikTok in a while. Not going to lie. It's been a while. He's been busy. He's been busy finishing in the top 10 at Talladega. Taylor Gray in 11th, Patrick Emmerling in 12th, Leland Honeyman in 13th, Sam Mayer in 14th, Nick Sanchez rounds out the top 15. Some notable drivers that kind of fell down the finishing order. We had Brennan Poole, who I've been paying attention to. You know, he's having a career year. He finished in 19th. Carson Quapple finished in 17th. We got Jesse Iwuji back out on the track this weekend. Where was he? Hold on. Hold, please. I just saw his name on here. Where was he? He finished in 20th. A top 20. First time racing in 2 years. He's in the top 20 position. So, Sammy Smith finished kind of far back with some issues. Jeffrey Earnhardt was in this race. Catherine Legg. No Catherine Legg slander this week. I'm not gonna tolerate any Catherine Legg slander. She got wiped out. You watch that highlight. I don't think there was anything she was gonna do about that. When, what was it, Almirola? Somebody cleared themselves up into her. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do? Oh, there's a car. Oh, it's getting closer to me. It's slamming into my driver's side. I don't think there was anything she could do. I really want to see Catherine Legg get a fair shake at one of these races, whether it's a super speedway race or it's whatever. I just want to see her get the time to understand how the car drives and really feel like she's got a chance and to be competitive in this series. I think it would be huge for her and for the teams that she's running for, with the legacy that she has in other sports, and other motorsports disciplines. I really want to see her get a fair chance. It's not fair that they threw her into a Cup car right away. It's not fair that they put her at Rockingham right away. So I see a lot of people like, oh no, Catherine Legg again. But it's like, you can't expect anybody who's never driven one of these cars before to go into the situations that they've put her in and be wildly successful, or not have issues where they're still trying to figure it out and learn. That's why, and I'm not saying the bad things about Catherine Legg. I'm saying, good things about the development process that they used to have, where you'd come up through, you'd have to run at a short track. You'd have to run at a super speedway. You'd have to run ARCA. You'd have to progress up through levels. And I think that helps drivers. I think it, regardless of how experienced the driver is, I don't care who it is. You come up through a system that gives you the best experience to put you out there on any given Sunday to win. But I think she's been given a really rough shake of, just throwing her to the wolves. It's rough. I see a lot of chatter on Twitter, and I just wanted to make sure everybody here is aware of how we feel about Catherine Legg, because she rules. We hope she finds some success here. I mean, she's getting there. Like we said, Catherine is slowly learning, but it takes time to completely understand how to drive these cars. Agreed. I agree. But if she agrees to it, it's on her. You're right. Sure. I mean, also too, like, you have to understand the fact where it is on her to some level, because she's getting in the car, but she wants to be there. She wants to do it right. She has a lot of sponsors that are a part of her career that want to be represented by a driver like her in a series like the Cup Series. I think it's just a deal where they need to understand that it's a slow grow. It's not the same as IndyCar or as, F1 or as whatever else. The biggest translation I see from other disciplines to the Cup car is the dirt stuff. That's the biggest. If you run dirt sprint cars, it seems like you can get in a Cup car and run pretty efficiently with that experience. For whatever reason, that type of racing seems to translate well. Yeah, what does it take? 100? It's 100 races before a first win usually, and even then it takes time. Like, I remember being at the race where Joey Logano flipped like 8 times, like, at Dover. Like, it takes time. It takes time to develop these talents, these young talents. Trying to think of good examples. I mean, what driver has taken the longest about to develop into, like Bubba Wallace I like Bubba Wallace as an example. The guy's only gotten better year after year after year after year after year. So it takes that time to improve. It's not week over week improvement, it's year over year improvement. So I think it's just a patience game. And I think it's true for a lot of drivers, and it's especially true for what they're trying to do with Catherine Legg. And I hope that Ty Gibbs is a good example too. Still seeking out that big win for himself, but another good example where he's just slowly crawling forward in the series, in the discipline, trying to get where he wants to go. Let's see. I missed any comments over here? Yes. She was running top 15 when she got taken out as well. Solid day gone wrong. Yep. But if NASCAR had more practices, she would make leaps and bounds. I think a lot of drivers would make leaps and bounds if but I think they should bring practice back. I understand that there's cost. They talk about it being cost prohibitive. I'm really starting to get tired of that conversation where it costs teams too much money. How long can you go on with that narrative that it just is not affordable? I don't understand the books. I'm not a bookkeeper, right? But to not have practice at all, have an abbreviated practice session. I think a happy hour type of deal, a 1 hour practice session. What's an hour on track costing you versus what it's giving you back in benefits? Like why would you not want an hour's worth of data like before a race? Couldn't you like utilize that data to improve your car or improve your strategy for the race that would be upcoming? And I get the cost rise. I get it. I haven't listened to DBC yet. I know that there's a conversation around cost because of what they wanted to do in the All-Star race, where they wanted to do a brung what you run, or run what you brung race, where the teams could just build the car however they wanted. They couldn't touch the engine or some of the single source parts, but they could set the car up however they wanted. And the big conversation amongst the big teams was, it's not worth it for us to dedicate our time and resources to $1 million prize. That's not enough. And the small teams were like, oh, well, we don't have the resources and the time to run what we brung and build something special for an all-star race. So they squashed it. And I get that the money is an issue, but like, this is a top tier American sport, not even a motorsport, but in terms of television, it's a top 5 sport on TV every week in the United States of America. So this cost prohibitiveness, if it's really as big of an issue as they say it is, we should be more worried about it. I feel like maybe. I don't know. We can't run practice. We can't build different things. We can't do this. We can't do that. We can't do the other. What can you do? Don't tell me what you don't. I mean, what can you do with the money you have? I'm curious. And I'm not being like facetious at all. I'm really curious to understand like what that means to some of the teams. Because I went to the shops this week. I saw what these shops look like. I understand the deal that they're trying to work out with NASCAR, and the TV deal is big, and that's why you have the lawsuit 2311 and FRM. Teams want more money from the sanctioning body, and I get that. They want to fight for what they feel they deserve. But I am very curious about what they can afford to do. I don't want to hear about what they can't afford to do. What can you do with the money that you have? It took Kyle Larson 2.5 years to earn his first Cup win. Thank you, Tom. Sorry, I just flipped back to the YouTube chat. But yes, it takes time to be good in this series, and practice would help. But we'll see how that all materializes. I don't know. $700,000 to $1 million to buy a build and race one weekend, but can't afford a practice session. Yeah. It's and the example I've been using, and I'm just using it as an example. Legacy Motor Club runs 2 cars in the Cup Series. And they're going to go out and buy a $45 million charter from Rick Ware, entangled in legal action over it. Even now, they're paying for lawyers, and they can't pay for a run what you brung race, or we want to change the car. The teams can't afford that. The teams want to practice. Teams can't afford practice. But you can afford a $45 million charter. I understand the books don't balance exactly the way I'm comparing it side by side there. I get that. But I mean, you got to make it make sense at some point. And they're just one example. There's plenty of others too. There's plenty of others. The All-Star race to me makes no sense. I know we have that coming up in a couple weeks. There's a promoter's caution just like whenever they feel like hitting the button. It feels like we have that every week anyway. So, no, but promoter's caution is an interesting thing to bring into the race to keep it exciting. Especially, try new things. This is what the All-Star race is designed for. I heard Tommy Baldwin saying that. This is the place to give it a shot if we're going to do it. Try things, get in the weeds, break some things, crack some eggs, see what happens. But I'm excited to see what they do with it. I don't know how much I agree with that promoter's caution, but there's some fun like manufacturer battles and obviously the $1 million prize and different ways that you can qualify for this all-star race and past champions can be involved now too. And open cars can try to qualify for it. So there's some interesting things about the all-star race. I'll be honest with you. Most exciting thing about an all-star race in recent memory to me was Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse trying to fight each other outside the haulers. North Wilkesboro is a great track, another track that they've revived and brought back down in the Carolinas. Does the next gen car run as well as it should there? I don't know. Could it run better there? Sure. Joey Logano won by a mile last year. So I don't know if they're going to give them the option tire this year again. That seemed to be a big deciding factor last time around. Oh, let's see. Comments. Hold on. Only one team will hold on. Practice their playoffs, so I don't see there's no pay for teams to do that. Only one team will win. No one will run what Brinks could have shown what NASCAR do to fix the cars. Yeah. It's kind of garbage that the teams didn't want to do it after all the complaining on how to fix them. I wish they'd bring back the old pit crew challenges. Also, race idea, put the drivers in 800 to 900 horsepower Xfinity car and just to see what happens. It really frustrates race fans to see this penny pinching, especially when you see the bottomless pit of budget cap that is Formula One, development, and track time. Yeah, it does. I think that's a fair point to make, Dom. Especially that NASCAR wants to be a bigger sport than F1 in the United States. The penny pinching stuff kind of it stinks. It stinks. It's stinky. I think Dom understands it better than others to a certain degree too. Teams have money. Big teams have money. I mean, Hendrick's doing a double with McLaren. So you got the money for things like that, but not money for practice, not money for improvements, not money for this, not money for that. Oh, okay, that's fine. But when people stop watching because the product's not getting any more competitive or the car's not getting any better, the fans we're over here just banging our heads against the wall. We have no power to control it. We have no say in how it works. We just get on the internet and tweet about it. Which is why I try not to really, really complain about the car itself, because it's not anything that is going to there's one solution, two solutions. There's two solutions. And until they decide they want to move forward with any changes whatsoever, what's the point? What's the point? To me, there's no point in being upset over it. Amazon Prime also backed up the truck to help assist because they're also filming a documentary. Yep. Amazon Prime brought some money in. That's what the TV deals are for. But I don't know how that money's dispersed. I mean, obviously not to the liking of the teams. The TV contract money is not being dispersed back down to the teams enough, apparently, to warrant things like practice and things like car improvements. I think the sport could come a long way. This is kind of a tangent, but I think we could do a lot with what we have in terms of personalities in the sport and rivalries on track. And you have to have the cars and the technology to make those rivalries a reality on track. But I think we've had a real issue with like personality driven entertainment where, Chase Elliott's the most popular driver, but he doesn't want to be involved in the full speed stuff on Netflix. To me, I think the most popular driver is Kyle Larson. And I think in short order behind him is Carson Hocevar, Noah Gragson, guys that are getting involved, guys that are getting out there in the media and are making themselves not just drivers, but like cultural icons of the sport. That's why I think, here we go. This is my weekly Cletus McFarland praise segment. So Big Cleat, Big Cleat Dog, Big Greg Biff. They come down to Talladega. Talladega, Holly made us. They come down in these RVs, RV budget challenge. Then they park their RVs on Talladega Boulevard for content. It's great. That's the kind of culture and personality that I think the sport is craving. It's hungry for it. They park their car, they park their RVs, and then they got to sell them to somebody in Talladega. Like they come with them. They got to sell them before they leave. Then they go out there. That's the fun stuff they're doing off track. Then they come out there, right? And they're running in 10th down a cylinder in the ARCA race, finishing top 10. Sometimes you can't be a bald eagle. Sometimes you got to be like a swan. That's what Cleat said. That's what Cleat said. You got to be like a swan. You got to be graceful. I hope we get more of him. I hope he's really serious about running in this type of racing in a professional capacity, because he's got a great opportunity to do it. Even if it's part-time, I think people are so glued to his personality and to he's competitive. It's not like he's running around in last. He is competitive, and he's avoiding wrecks out there, and he's bobbing and weaving and doing the whole thing. Makes too much sense. But I hope he sticks around. He's got some good partnerships. He's friends with Dale Jr. a little bit now. They're sending each other animals as gifts and stuff. I don't know, but they're having fun with it, and it's fun for us to watch. It's fun for fans to feel like they're a part of through the digital experience of podcasting and content like that. Not a lot of drivers you can watch their in-car camera on NASCAR's YouTube channel. NASCAR has a huge YouTube channel. It's huge. It's like 5 million subscribers or something. It's tremendous. They're going to put Cleat out there. Cleat's got big followers too. So I think that like that personality shift, like talk about where NASCAR going to get new fans from. Oh, they left the old fans behind. I don't watch NASCAR. Oh, I don't watch NASCAR anymore. This is where the new fans are going to come from. They're going to come from the online space. They're going to come from the digital space. Cletus to Aspire truck by 2026. I hope so, man. I really hope so. I was bold enough to say he would do Xfinity testing, and I think I needed to walk that back a little. I think the truck series is much more attainable for him in the short term, for sure. I wouldn't doubt if you see him in a truck at a super speedway in the next year or two. If he wants it, that's going to be the big key. Oh, okay. So that's kind of our Talladega recap. I'm going to do a little show and tell now. I'm going to try to get it all on my little screen here. Let him bring his Dale truck out there. He did bring the Dale truck to Talladega with Dale Jr. and let him run it down the backstretch. If you saw that on his YouTube channel, that was really cool. Oh, that Carson Hocevar has that Dale truck now too, and somebody taped Mike Skinner on it. Also, real quick, Justin Haley drives a Cybertruck. Why isn't that being discussed? NASCAR driver drives a Cybertruck around town. A triangle trash can on wheels. Like what? If I was a race car driver, I wouldn't be driving a Cybertruck. I mean, to each their own, to each their own. Technology neutral. We love it. We're going to be technology neutral in the automotive aftermarket. We're going to do it. But, that just boggles my mind. You're a Chevy driver. You have access to any Chevrolet, probably any Chevrolet you might want to drive. They'll give you a deal on because you're working for them. I'd have whatever the latest model year Corvette is, the highest trim package, latest model Corvette, and probably a truck, a Chevy truck. If I was in that seat. All right. I want to show you guys some cool things that I brought back from Charlotte. This is less about the morning show portion. Oh, this is the Turkey Derby, baby. 50th anniversary. Also, Wall Stadium this year. Thank you for bringing that up, Will. May 17th, if you are in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York area, is opening weekend for Wall Stadium. I implore you, please come out and support the track this year. Please, 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 please. Kraus family has been promoting the track for 15 years. They've been at the helm of Wall Stadium Speedway. And we have gotten some great racing at Turkey Derbies and at NASCAR Modifieds at Wall Stadium. And weekly series have been a treat every year. The Krauses have done a great job. And I hope that their legacy is imprinted on that place forever and ever and ever, because without them, there'd be apartments on that property. So if you have the ability, come out, support the track this year, enjoy the racing that's happening at Wall Stadium Speedway, please. This is the Krauses' last year promoting the track. They've announced they're hanging it up after this year. And the way that deal works is they lease the land from somebody. So somebody else owns that property. And the hope and the prayer, we'll do another prayer. We prayed for Anheuser-Busch last week. Now let's pray for one Mr. Jimmy Blewett, modified legend, Wall Stadium modified legend. There's a conversation out there on the internet that he might come in after the Krauses and be the next promoter of the track. So if you have the ability, please support the track this year more than you've ever supported it, because without it, I don't think we have any ovals left in Jersey. Paved ovals. I don't think we have any paved ovals left. We got Bridgeport and we have New Egypt, which are dirt tracks. But we're running out of paved ovals. So track's been around since the very beginning of NASCAR. The Cup Series used to run there. Used to run at Trenton too. Trenton's a shopping mall now. Trenton Racetrack. But support the track if you can. I'm really hoping to do some work with them. I've been talking with one of the Krauses the last couple of weeks here, trying to put something together to be involved at the track, even though this is the final season for them. I'd really love to be involved in helping make it a place that can see racing prosper. I went in there last year, not to get too deep in the weeds. I went in there last year and I knocked on the door and I gave them my pitch. I said, "Hi, I'm Sal. I do social media. I do marketing for SEMA. I do marketing and social media on my own for racing, my own stuff like this. What can I do to help you or provide you with experience in this area?" And they were a little bit taken aback. And they were like, "Well, what does it cost? What is this? What is that?" And I said, "I'll do it for free." I said that to them. I'm not blowing smoke, patting myself on the back. For free, I'll do it. I'll do it for $0, just to say that I could be a part of this thing and help racing prosper at this track that I grew up coming to. I'll do it for nothing. I didn't hear back. And this year, I did hear back. And it's been a couple of weeks, and I'm hoping that I can do some social media work with them, and I can do some PA announcing with them and make it an exciting experience for folks at the track. So I'm going to reach out to Emily. She's my contact over there. See what the update is. But I hope I'll be out there at the track doing some fun things this year at Wall Stadium, and just trying to really keep the wheels greased. So if you're in the area or you come to the track regularly, hopefully you'll see a little bit more Sal out there. I usually only go like 4 or 5 times a year. I'm not there every weekend, admittedly. I go for the Turkey Derby. I go for a couple events in the summertime. But I travel a lot in the summer for work, but I would love to be involved there. I'd love to get up in the booth. I don't even think they have a booth. Like, they're not broadcast on any, like, they're not broadcasting those races weekly. So we'll see. Yeah, I'd love to be a part of their social media stuff. It's just some really simple, small things that a lot of tracks could do. I'm not just singling out them, but a lot of tracks could do very, very easily to help improve their social presence. And it doesn't have to, it's not a big lift. It's not crazy. You don't have to post 942 times a year. There's easy ways to do things. Create a strategy, go with it. Pit interviews would have been one of the things that's on the table right now too. Victory lane interviews, some things like that. But you have to have some resources for it, and you have to have a team of people that can help do it. Versus like the one-man band with the drum on his chest and the tambourines in his hands and the guitars on his back. So I hope that I can kind of be a part of that. So we'll see what we can do with that opportunity if there is one there this year. So exciting things, hopefully. Fingers crossed. We even talked about doing some social video like with me, like where it's like, yeah, come on out to the track. Like this could be cool. But it is a lot of Saturdays. It is. I was kind of hoping, I don't know what I'm hoping, really. I would do it every Saturday I could do. I go away. Last year I was away one weekend. Now I'm away 2 weekends. I'm away 2 weekends for work on the West Coast that I would probably miss, or I would fly back on a Friday and be at the track on Saturday. So, but I'm fairly flexible. If I need to be somewhere for something, I'd try. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that opportunity. Hopefully there's good things there for the future. I hope so, because I'd really love to get involved at that level and try to build my book of experience. Actually being at the track, like being here with all of you in the mornings is a wonderful thing. I love doing this morning show. We have great conversations with the chat. And I think what we do here is different than other content mediums. It's much more driven by the audience versus me reading off of a sheet. It's more about us together than me on the screen. But I would love to build a broader book of experience to be able to bring this type of content to a bigger platform and just not to bring it to a bigger platform, but to make it a bigger platform that people could understand. Like it's not me, it's we. So we can all enjoy it a little bit more together and get Sal, get the wheels greased for Sal a little bit. Try to do this a little more frequently. All right. So when I went to Charlotte, one of the things I wanted to do, I was there from Monday to Friday last week. One of the things I wanted to do was go to the Racing Warehouse. And this is not a paid promotion, even though they should be paying me by now. I did some social video. I did one social media video down there on TikTok. A little trendy social TikTok. Put it on Instagram. Got like 50,000 views on both platforms. So I paid full price for the sheet metal. Next time I go down there, I want a coupon. But I did get something special. I was a Jeff Gordon fan as a kid growing up. So this one has a special place for me. They were super cool about like, hey, like we know you from the internet. This is a piece from the 06 Daytona 500 car of Jeff Gordon. The lower right quarter panel. He wrecked with Tony Stewart. He brushed the wall on lap 2. Or no, I'm sorry, on lap 50, turn 2. And they cut the car up. And I was able to grab this little piece of history just to say I had a piece of Jeff's car. One of Jeff's cars. So there's even a little piece of the number left. A little piece in the corner here, a little piece. But some of those pieces go for, I don't know, people pay like $1,000 for pieces of the old 24. I was not going to pay that much money for any piece of sheet metal. So I'm glad I got this little piece. And behind me is 2 more pieces I picked up. So I used to work with Live Fast. Live Fast was like my experience with Live Fast has been awesome. That's why I'm such like a huge fan of theirs. They really gave Sal a chance, when Matt Tift and BJ McLeod and were running kind of the front office things there. Matt Tift found me on TikTok and I made TikToks for them for a year. And I worked with some of their media folks, and I'm still hoping to work with them in the future, even in the limited capacity that they're running races. They're still a business doing things as well. So I'm hoping to work with them again. But I never had a piece of the cars from the team that I worked with. And if you see behind me too, like in the backdrop of my streams, I have this framed picture. It was my first like paycheck from them. A little sappy. It's a little sappy, right? But like growing up, I wanted to work in professional sports. And this was my first real opportunity in professional sports, was with Live Fast. So I have the check framed behind me, or where is it? It's right here on TikTok. If you're on my finger is. So it was a great opportunity for me. And I always thought if I had the chance to grab a piece of the car, I grabbed a piece of Alfredo's car from them when I was working with them, but I never had a piece of BJ 78. So here that is now. So I'm glad I have this little front. Now, this is one from the Fords before they switched over to before they switched over to Chevy, but still super cool. Oh, man. Oh, and then there's the big Papa, the big Papa that I spent with. I had to have it. I had to have it. I brought it all the way home. I brought her home. This is a piece of Martin Truex Jr.'s Coliseum car from the Clash. It's a big piece. So typically, it's so funny to see how this thing is on camera. It's so big. Typically, I keep it in front of my desk, and I display it there. But today, I've pulled it behind the camera a little bit to give a good view. It's hard because, like, where do you put it? It's a big one, you know? Upside down, around the way here. I feel like I gotta go inside of it a little bit. Like, could I do that? Could I pick it up like this? Oh, there you go. Like over my head. Like, am I gonna bang everything around? Like, it's a big piece of sheet. Okay. Oh. There we go. Are we still live on TikTok? Oh yeah, it's still giving me the counter. All right. But yeah, we had a great week down in Charlotte. It was like a little mini vacation. So got some sheet metal from the racing warehouse. Place rules. Got to go to Junior Motorsports. Saw Tony Stewart. Mamba was there doing some podcast stuff. Ida Zetterstrom was there as well. There was the NHRA was in town. If you didn't know, 4 wides. We're at the ZMAX. ATYL has done some great stuff with NHRA. They did Taylor and Dom and Adam. They killed it. They killed it out at ZMAX covering the NHRA stuff. Big Duke, if you know Big Duke, he's doing some NHRA stuff now. So, you know, W's in the chat to them. They were killing it this weekend. Really hoping to get out to one of those Top Fuel races myself. I don't know when. They don't really come up to the Northeast like they used to, but I might be able to squeak out there for Vegas toward the end of the year. When I have to go out there for work. So that'd be really cool to see NHRA action. Tony Stewart just won, in Vegas 2 weeks ago, a week ago. Won his first Top Fuel race. So really cool to see him like master of all disciplines at this stage of his life and doing things with NHRA and being a part of that sport and NASCAR fans and oval track fans getting more involved with it, getting more interested in it because it is a good time. But yeah, got to see them at Junior Motorsports. Bought a lot of things that I didn't need. Went to booth 34 past week. Ended up getting a couple of die casts that I didn't need. Lionel, went to Lionel, even though they have the tariffs. They're talking about the tariff pricing, right? A lot of things in the Lionel store are percentages off. So there's some sale items that you can take advantage of at Lionel in the Concord Mills Mall. Some good people work there too. You know what I notice every time I go down to Charlotte, or the Charlotte metro area, Mooresville and Cornelius and Huntersville, and everywhere I go, people talk to you. And that's kind of a foreign concept to people up here, at least in where I am. You walk into a business, you don't spend an hour talking to the person working there. And down there you do. So I had the unique opportunity to talk to a lot of different people, which was refreshing and exciting to me. I met somebody who's friends with the Baldwins, gets wine with Mrs. Baldwin. You got to talk to people at Spire who I had interviewed with over a year ago, who know people from my area and are from the Northeast. You walk in and you talk to people at different race shops and people behind the counter at Junior Motorsports. And even when I was in Charlotte last time, I went to Huntersville, this Joe Gibbs Racing, I think I spent 2 hours in the gift shop talking to the woman behind the counter. I still have a theory that she was somebody important and can't remember her name. God bless her. But people are really friendly and it's a nice, it's very refreshing to go down there and have people like, you talk about motorsports, you talk about racing, and it's a way of life for people down there. And it's really nice. I got to meet with Taylor and Dom in person for reals. which was awesome. Got dinner with them. Nice to have those connections and those people around you. So it was a great trip down there. I had a lot of fun. I always go down there to see if I could live there. And I think the key for me personally is I need an opportunity in the sport to really justify moving there. It's far from home. It's far from family. There's a lot of people in the Charlotte metro area. They got traffic worse than I do here in Jersey, if you can believe it. That Route 77 is something. I'll tell you. I know people complain. They'd have politicians tied up by their toes here if they had an express lane that charged you the way they do during rush hour traffic and forced the trucks and the cars onto a 2-lane road. There would be some hell to pay for the folks that set that one up if that was in Jersey. Makes no sense to me. I could fix the infrastructure problem on 77 in 2 minutes. Not my job. But it's great. Lake Norman's cool. You go, you see everybody's big houses on a lake and eat dinner and have a good time. And we were there on vacation, so obviously you don't live like that all the time. But being around the culture of motorsports down there is a lot of fun. People are really tapped into it. 10 tenths, super cool looking area up by the speedway. Going to Hendrick is always a treat. They always are shuffling cars in there, so you get the chance to see all kinds of different things. I saw a bunch of Garage 56 cars. I guess they had a few that they had built and then had tucked away and then were used for testing and then were used for other things. I've seen the one that ran Le Mans, and then I've now seen 2 other ones that are test vehicles. I don't know if they made display versions of those cars, like full size, like just to take on media tours, but I've seen a few. It's incredible to see those Le Mans cars, the Garage 56 ones. I hope they go back. And we have a presence there as a sport on truly the world's biggest stage for motorsports. So, yeah, but that was kind of my trip. We ate great food. We saw great places. We were in Birkdale Village. That seems to be where all the rich people hang out. They love seeing me in there, all tattooed up, all over town, drinking their fancy wine, eating their charcut boards. I'll tell you what, there's some good charcut down there. I like a little meat and cheese and honeycomb. Don't poo-poo on the charcut. That spicy mustard. Spicier than going 4 wide at Talladega. But we had a lot of fun down there. I hope I get back down there again soon. We'll see what opportunities present themselves in the future. Very happy with what I do now, but always looking to. It's never enough, So always looking to do a little more and be a little more involved, however I can, whether that's at Wall this year or in other ways. So this thing is digging into my legs, so I'm gonna take this giant piece of car off of my body real quick. Oh my goodness. All right. Also, too, we have a new backdrop. We're in the La Casa del Basement, new studio set up for the foreseeable future. And I don't know, I think it came out pretty good. Better than I thought. I dug out this old Dodge George Washington poster. This thing must be 10 years old or 15 years old. From when the Challenger first was reintroduced into Dodge's fleet. So really fun to kind of rebuild the backdrop a little bit. So but yeah, this is the new spot. Internet's a little spotty, lie. If you lose me here and there, holler in the comments and let me know so I can know when to fix it and what I can do better to make it better moving ahead. I don't want it to be like weird and gross and glitchy and poo-poo quality for everybody. I'm taking on some new things, doing clips. So we're not doing clips from TikTok anymore. Big friend, Jordan. SHIP Box Garage. If you know him from the internet, I work with Jordan a little bit on the other side of my life, and he gave me some quick tips on how I could best improve my situation with getting some clips and showing myself and being able to improve my social presence. So Jordan, I'm doing it this week. I promised I would, and I'm doing it. So even if it takes up all the file space on my computer, I'm doing it. But that's kind of just a rundown of what Sal's been up to. For those of you following along. There's something I want to pull up and talk about real quick. Let's see. So why don't we try to understand the All-Star race together? Why don't we try to do that? Maybe by talking through it as a group. Maybe talking through it as a group, I can help believe what's happening. So when did this come out? April 1st, 2025. That came out recently. All right. Damn, the TikTok, it doesn't love it. The internet here doesn't love TikTok. Yeah, I see it popping up and down and popping in and out. It doesn't love it, but that's okay. But all right, here we go. So we have the All-Star weekend. We're gonna get the Cars Tour on national TV. We're gonna get that, which I think is huge. They're gonna do qualifying for the pro late models and the late model stocks on Thursday. Then they're gonna do the feature Thursday night. I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be on Fox, on FS1, I believe. That's gonna be awesome. I think we need more racing on TV. Any kind of racing on big TV, please. Yes, I'll take that. Thank you. Friday, you're going to get the All-Star race and the open practice. Yes, but can you believe it? So Friday, All-Star race and open practice, pit crew champ presented by Mechanics Wear. And then you're going to get the Car Tour's late model stock feature. That's a 100 feature on Friday. Integrating the NASCAR stuff and the Cars Tour stuff together. Somebody said it earlier, Dale Jr. is keeping the sport alive. I mean, you see a lot of crossover with the things that Dale Jr. does and what he's involved with at the car now. Kind of piggybacking with some of the NASCAR stuff, especially at Wilkesboro. Craftsman Truck Series will practice and qualify on Saturday. Then they'll do the NASCAR All-Star heat races. Sunday, they'll do the internet for the TikTok is bad. Let's see if we could pause it. We could pause it and then see if it'll. Then there's wheel and modified tour practice and qualifying. So they'll do the whole practice qualifying and feature Sunday, and then the NASCAR race will run. The All-Star race will run. So a lot of action. A lot of action. A lot of action at Wilkesboro for the weekend. I didn't realize the modifieds were there too. So you're going to get both Cars Tour divisions and modifieds and trucks and the Cup Series. There's rubber on that track. It should make it a little more exciting. I'm going to literally read this from NASCAR's website, and then we can maybe understand it a little bit better, because there's a promoter's caution and some other things are new here. The two previous editions of the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro held with 200 lap features. This year's main event will expand by 50, including a competition break or at near the 100 lap mark and the potential extra intermission that's new for 2025. So that's the promotion. A single optional promoter's caution flag potentially will be in the mix to reshape the race's complexion. If that yellow flag takes place, it must fly before the lap 220 and cannot be used if a naturally occurring caution happens after lap 200. So there are some restrictions to the promoter's caution. It's not just, okay, throw it whenever. There are some restrictions. It must be thrown before lap 220 and cannot be used if a naturally occurring caution happens after lap 200. A competition within the race will place an emphasis on automaker performance, with Chevy, Ford, and Toyota teams facing on the manufacturer showdown. Manufacturer teams will include all drivers from the least represented manufacturer and an equal number of manufacturers selected based on their final all-star grid positions. Team drivers will be scored against each other, and the team with the lowest combined total finishing points will be the winner. Lowest combined finishing position will be the winner. So like golf, best finishing manufacturers are going to get points. Lowest points, the better you are. A tie would be broken by the best overall finish among the group. Wow. The internet is really got me in a twist right now. Let's see if I can remove some of these things real quick. See if I can close some background programs that might be sapping some bandwidth. So you will get that caution, and then you'll get that manufacturer's battle with the drivers' positions. The NASCAR All-Star Race continues to evolve innovative events on our calendar. Executive Vice President John Probst said, and Chief Racing Development Officer, returning to historic North Wilkesboro Speedway for the third year in a row allows us to honor our sport's roots while pushing the envelope with fresh, competitive events. The introduction of the Manufacturer Showdown brings a new layer of intensity and pride to our OEM partners, and fans can expect even more strategy, teamwork, and drama on race day. So I don't know what everybody thinks of that, the OEM Showdown, and kind of it feels like there's a little bit of gimmicky things they're trying to throw into the All-Star weekend. I think they should just let them race, let them get out there, beat each other up a little bit for that $1 million. But I'm interested to see how they integrate these other elements into it. It's just like when they started doing things with the option tire, people were like, oh, an option tire, what? But it seems like things become, a little more popular as time goes on. People get a little bit more accustomed to innovations and improvements, especially at races like Wilkesboro, where it's not a points race. So you get to try new things, and it's a little bit different. Other procedures remain intact from the previous year's running, including Sunday's All-Star Open, a 100-lap qualifying race with a competition break at or near lap 40 for drivers not already eligible for the main event. 3 drivers will advance, the Open's top 2 finishers and top vote getter in fan balloting. So that's something interesting too. So it's not just based on Open Cars finish positions. It'll also be based on fan vote, which we've seen in years past getting into the All-Star race. The fastest pit stop, measured by the elapsed time from timing lines on the pit stall before and after the designated pit box, will determine the winner of the pit crew challenge. Those results will be reflected in the order of pit stall selection, with the winning team picking first. And then drivers eligible, the last part of this for me, and then I'll from the All-Star break stuff, talk a little bit about Texas. Drivers eligible for the NASCAR race include those who've won a points event in 24 or 25, or drivers who've won a NASCAR All-Star race and compete full-time, and drivers who've won a NASCAR Cup Series championship and compete full-time. A lot of ands in there. So drivers eligible include those who've won a points event for 2024, 2025, drivers won an All-Star race and compete full-time, and drivers who've won a Cup Series championship and compete full-time. So we're kind of covering off on a lot of pieces there. So just trying to keep it straight for myself even to read it twice like that. Drivers eligible for the All-Star race main event include, in alphabetical order, Christopher Bell, Josh Berry, Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, Chris Butcher, Kyle Busch, William Byron, Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Daniel Suarez. So those are people who are already eligible for the All-Star race based on those criteria listed above. Whew, I read that really fast. My head hurts. But I think the All-Star race will be exciting. I hope it's more exciting than last year. I hope it brings a little bit more drama to the sport. To the series. Man, this TikTok thing is not a fan of Sal today. Is not happy with me. I hope it's not like that for you guys on YouTube. Because it's suffering. We're suffering on TikTok for sure with the internet connection. But that is kind of the rundown for the All-Star race. Worth 400. It's a Texas Motor Speedway. This is a track that either you love it or you hate it. It's definitely one that, I don't know, people have a lot of split opinions on. Makes for good racing there sometimes. Out last year, the end of that race was just kind of like caution after caution with Ross and Chase Elliott kind of battling back and forth. Line last year, Chase wins Texas Thriller in overtime to snap winless streak. Chase Elliott, talk about, somebody asked it earlier in the chat. I'm sure they've moved on now, but you see Chase being a dominant driver, and if he can't be, do they remove him? Chase Elliott has not impressed a lot of folks this year or last year, even with the win that he has at Texas, and he won Bowman Gray. He won. This is a driver who was in the competing for championships all the time. And it just doesn't seem to be materializing at Hendrick for him in that 9 car anymore. He's got great support. He's the best team in NASCAR. He's doing everything he can in that 9 car, but he just seems not to be winning the races. That's, he's in contention. He's finishing really well, but trying to get over the hump and get it done. But last year at Texas, where was it? It was Chase, Brad, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, and Daniel Suarez were the top 5. You selecting fantasy. I am absolutely mopping up in the ATYL points battle fantasy that we're doing on our own. I won this week again. It's 2 wins on the year for Big Dog. I'm ready to rip. It's because I was in Charlotte. It's because I had insider information. I went all around. I was like, "Oh, Talladega, who's got a good car?" And I'm 2 wins on the year. I'm getting close to that top prize. But you can join Sal's Slide Job Sal's Fantasy League on NASCAR as well. I'm not doing so well there, so you can beat up on me on that in that league. But Texas is always an interesting track. Wrapping that bottom in 1 and 2 is so difficult. Either you run that real low bottom line or you run that middle line kind of through 1 and 2. And if you miss it, you're up in the marbles, and it's tough. It's tough to recover. So Texas should be fun. I look forward to these mile and a half tracks. I'm sure teams are going to really have good data from last year to be able to go ahead, move forward, and create good product this year. Last time out in Texas for the Xfinity Series that Ryan Sieg lost by 0.002 of a second to Sam Mayer. This was a heartbreaker for Sieg, but was one of the best races of the year, I thought, for Xfinity last year. So and then I wanted to go to the standings real quick. Time we got, it's 9:30. Wanted to go to the standings here and just kind of, we talked about Chase Elliott a little bit, and is he dominant? Could he be replaced? I don't think he's going to get replaced, but we talk about, okay, where are these guys? You kind of lose track of them week over week sometimes. Where are they finishing? What are they doing? How are they performing? So we get a better idea here. Oh boy, everything just moved on my screen. I don't love that. Okay. We get a little bit of a better idea as we kind of poke around and look at the point standings. William Byron still in that 1 point spot with his win, his 500 win. He has 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s, 0 DNFs, and 3 stage wins. So that's what's putting him at the king of the castle up here on the top of the board. Kyle Larson right behind him, moved up 2 spots this week. Denny Hamlin down in 3rd now from that P2 spot in the point standings. Chase Elliott, 4th place in the points. So when we talk about like driver dominance and things like that, it's a long season. And in terms of points position, Chase Elliott is performing really well. And he's putting himself in a position where he could point his way into the playoffs if he really needed to. I do think Chase Elliott's going to win this year. I think there's a handful of drivers that you'll see kind of pop off 1 week and really be really good. But I think Chase Elliott is due for a win this year. I don't know about Texas, but who knows? Christopher Bell is in 5th in the points. Tyler Reddick moved up this week. He'll be running that beautiful, sweet Diamond Air Jordan scheme. If you haven't seen it, it's on my TikTok and Instagram. 2311. I took that picture at the shop and I was like, oh man, if I post this, they're gonna put me on a list somewhere. So I waited for their official like release to come out before I posted the picture that I took at the shop. But I think the one I took, they're gonna have it as at the Coke 6. I saw the NASCAR salutes badge on it. So I think you're gonna see it at Texas and again at the Coke 600. That Tyler Reddick 45 machine. So he's in 6th place in the points, followed by his teammate Bubba Wallace, who's 7th in points. Ryan Blaney, despite 4 DNFs this year for Ryan Blaney, 4. He is in 8th in the points still. Alex Bowman moved up a spot after Talladega. He's in 9th in the points. Ross Chastain slid up into 10th. Now, Joey Logano dropped a ton of spots because the DQ. Busher dropped spots because of his DNF. We saw Ryan Preece drop a bunch of spots because of his DQ. It's been rough for some of these guys. It's been rough for some of these guys. Poor Brad Kay. He's back in 32nd in points. Brad Kay is someone who I look at and I think, what is the future for that 6 car? How many more years can Brad run that car before he gives it up to somebody else? I'm curious to see what that looks like moving forward. Thought we'd get some good performance out of Justin Haley at Talladega. Didn't quite materialize for him. Ty Gibbs led a bunch of laps at Dega. He's really improved the last few weeks. I think it's been a big comeback for him from where he was earlier in the season, all the criticism he was getting. Loved seeing Hocevar out there. I was actually at Spire during the week, and I said to the gentleman who was he was director of marketing and director of marketing, yes. Just talking to him about, Hocevar's the guy, doing social media. But he's also the guy this week. I told him, he's my pick this week. He's my pick this week. And look at that. Hocevar scooting his way up in the points. He's in top 20 points guy now. But really had himself a week. Really had himself a week. So happy for Hocevar. Happy for the Spire team. They do a lot of good things. Was really happy for Gregson this week too. Talladega, top 10 finish for him. And everybody getting that, shuffling up a little bit too because of those DQs. So that affected some points, obviously for those cars that got DQ'd, but for guys who are now going to sit in those spots and be a part of, take advantage of that. All right. It's been very distracting this morning because the internet is not doing what I had hoped it would. It's not doing well. I will say that. It is not doing super, super awesome things right now. At night, it's better, but during the day, it's not as good, and I don't know why. I'll have to diagnose with the IT team here at Slide Job Sal Studios, the Basement Studios Productions. Whew. But we're back. We're back this week. Excited to be back. Next week, I'll be gone. So you get me this week. Post-Texas, I'll be out in California. So I'll be out for SEMA Show Space Selection. This is the time of the year. If you're in the automotive aftermarket industry, you can be a part of where the automotive aftermarket universe gathers in Las Vegas. Oh, it's just for companies. Oh, it's just for brands. Oh, it's just for people in business. Wrong. You can come as a member of the public. There's an experience on Friday, that SEMA Show Friday, open to the public. You can buy a ticket, and walk the show floor, see all the fun things. There's lots of race car things that happen. We have all kinds of drifting things that happen on the grounds out front. Optima has a great activation on the side. There's some good things that happen with Shell and their RTR program. So there's some fun things that happen on the outside of the building that is available to the public all week. And then you can come into the show floor on Friday, walk the show floor on Friday. The rest of the week is reserved for brands. to do business and to show products and innovations. That's kind of the whole deal. And then Friday night, SEMA Fest is back with the concert and some other things. They're announcing that today. So that'll be really exciting for us. But if you're out there, we got Joey Logano was out there last year, right before Phoenix, right before he won the championship. So a lot of drivers and a lot of NASCAR people and a lot of racing people come out to SEMA, as well as PRI. That's later in December. But it's a good time. That's where. But I'll be on site in the office out in LA for space selection as we watch the show floor. Literally watch the show floor fill up. It's like draft night where people get different spots and who's in what place, and it's really cool. It's really kind of a a nerdy trade show thing, but it'll be a fun thing to be a part of again this year. Got to meet Kenny Wallace one year out there, Tony Stewart, Sheldon Creed. People come out. It's fun. Haley Deegan, Brendan Schwab hangs out there. Got to meet Kane Brown last year. That was cool. Vaughn Gittin, Chelsea DeNova. Those are cool people. Who else did I meet? Georgia Aaron. She builds mini trucks. She's awesome. Lacey Blair. She's cool too. Zach builds those crazy big supercharged. Built that crazy supercharged Impala last year. That car was sick. Weston. Redneck Science. They do a burnout show in the parking lot as well, all open to the public. So that's my shameless work plug. Thank you all for being a part of it. But yeah, I'll be out there next week. So no show Tuesday morning to recap Texas, unfortunately. I'm going to try to do some short form stuff. Usually the weeks I travel out to California I'm already on a disadvantage with the time zone. So by the time I get out of bed, it's already 12 o'clock here. Or by the time I start working, it's already 12 o'clock here. And, we know the NASCAR world revolves around East Coast time. So usually they're pretty quiet for me. But I'll try to do some short form stuff and keep everybody up to date on news or happenings around the NASCAR world and the motorsports world. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. I was really amped about the way Talladega finished. I think it'll lead us into a good place with Texas. We're at a part of the season now where you're really in like the heat of the summer. I think it's like you're just getting into the heat of the summer. But in terms of like the schedule, this is like the thickest part coming up here the next 4 or 5 weeks, and it'll be interesting to see how teams maybe that have laid off a little early. The teams in these shops are preparing cars weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. I'm curious to see maybe if some of that effort pays off for some of these teams that I saw cars getting prepped. Hendrick has cars getting prepped all over the place. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. But between them, Penske has a bunch of cars I saw getting prepped. 2311 has car chassis sitting all over the place getting prepped. So I'm curious to see how teams maybe, we saw this with Penske last year where they perform where they need to and then win championships that way. They strategize to win championships that way. So maybe over the next couple of weeks, we'll see some surprise winners with some cars that are really, really juiced and get some good results here for some of these drivers that have been really strong in the field up to this point. Now it's about time. Let's see. Oh, yeah, baby. There we go. Boop, boop, boop. I have to pull the Wordle up on TikTok. TikTok is going to explode today. I don't think TikTok is really, really struggling today. Like the live studio is even giving me a hard time now. Like the actual functionality of the live studio is giving me a hard time. All right. You guys can see the Wordle pretty good there. All right. Let's get the ad. Let's do this. Reload. Boom, boom, boom. I don't want the Wordle archive. Get rid of that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Love doing the Wordle. Just a way to kind of wrap up the day. We got about 20 minutes left. We've been all over the place. We've been bouncing all over the place today. We talked a little bit of Talladega. We talked a little bit of NHRA. We talked a little bit about Xfinity. We talked about Rockingham and all-star races and all kinds of things. We talked about Sal's little trip to Charlotte, Wall Stadium Speedway. We're really tackling it all today. So I appreciate everybody who sticks around for the entirety of the 2-hour show. We slide it back different times. We try different things. We're trying to, make it more appealing to y'all. So if you have feedback or suggestions for the show, let us know, please. It's our show together, along with A2IL Media. So, try to make it as best we can. Definitely need to figure out the internet, though. That's going to be my priority today, because it's aggravating to see the little thing pop up all the time. And it definitely throttles the engagement of TikTok in general, which I don't love. I don't like it. But speaking of cars racing, let's try power. How do we think about that? Nope. Dud. Mm. Ooh, it's going to be tough. We've already killed 2 vowels here, E and O. So we have A and I. Something about L. Something feels about L today. I don't know. Okay. We feel good about L and I. We got L and I here. It's not checkers. Well, we know the I doesn't go there. Blind? Okay. We're getting closer. We're sniffing it out. We're at L-I. Blink. Tough with these letters. Tough with these letters, let me tell you. B-L-I-M, B-L-I-S-S, bliss. There we go. 4th row winner. Bliss, the Wordle, word of the day. We got that done good, too. We got that done in pretty impressive timing. Usually it takes a whole load of help from the chat to get that done. So that was fun. That was a good one. Didn't think I'd get it that quick. Sorry if we excluded the chat. I want to stop sharing my screen now. But yeah, that's kind of the morning show this morning. Unless there's anything anybody wants to talk about, I know it's been rough, and I apologize. The internet on the TikTok, I think, has kind of put me in a place where it's gotten a little more difficult for people to stay tuned. We had 116 comments in here today, so I'm happy for that engagement that we were all able to kind of have. This camera needs to focus. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Texas. Again, no show next week, unfortunately, but I did want to jump in here this week and give folks a recap of kind of what I've been up to as I get going in the summertime here. I'm hoping to get out to a couple of these races. I've started to get more of a defined schedule where I'm thinking definitely Dover. Pocono is going to be rough because I'm coming off of another trip that week. So I would come home from out west and then travel to Pocono on that Sunday. So I'm trying to do that one, trying to do Watkins Glen. There's a chance I might go to Iowa. I have a friend who's taking a work trip out to Michigan, and I might just go with him on his work trip, stay there, go to Iowa, and then fly home from Iowa. So there's a chance I might get out to that track. We were going to do Indy 500, or I'm sorry, Brickyard 400 and Iowa back-to-back weekends, but I don't think that's going to work in terms of schedule for him and his work trip. But going to try to do some different things. I don't know. The later half of the year, I wanted to go to the Cokes of May. I'm tired of driving to Charlotte, though, so I want to fly. And I just have to make sure it fits in the budget to get an Airbnb and potentially Uber or potentially get a car or whatever the situation is going to be to get to the track. They try to stay in Concord somewhere. It's probably a pain in the ass, but we'll see. I would only be there for the race. I'd fly in on a Saturday, fly home on Monday, just kind of a quick 3-day weekend kind of deal. But I'd love to get out to a couple events this year. I haven't been to a race this year. That being said, there hasn't been anything local to me yet. I'm going to try to go to Loudon too. I'm going to try to hit the local stuff. If I can do a day trip to Watkins Glen or a day trip to Pocono or a day trip to Loudon or a day trip to Dover, those are going to be the ones that I try to prioritize the most, just because of how close they are to me and where I can kind of be a part of things. So I'm hoping that I get the chance to do some infield stuff this year. Not sure how that's going to shake out, but I'd love to just love to get out to the track and be a fan, a couple of races, but we'll see. We'll see what it all looks like. Hopefully all of you are tapped in and getting ready to get out to the track in the coming weeks yourself, Texas or Wilkesboro, or there'll be some good racing coming up in the next 4 or 5 weeks in the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. Next week. Then we go to Kansas. Kansas is one of my favorite races on the schedule. It's one that this car really, really is good at. We saw a great race last year with that Monday kind of rain delay that happened, but there was great racing at Kansas last year. Then we go to the All-Star race. That's May 18th. We go right to the Coke 600 May 25th. And then we go to Nashville. So I think it's great. We have a great lineup here. And then Michigan after that. And then Mexico. I mean, I can just read the whole schedule off, but these are great tracks lined up in a row, right? Texas is an intermediate track. Kansas, intermediate track. All-Star race. Wilkesboro, kind of its own unique thing. Charlotte. Cars runs great at Charlotte on the oval. Nashville, we saw a lot of fuel mileage racing. We saw fuel mileage results there last year with Cindric winning that one, but good racing. Michigan, I can't wait for Michigan. They get these cars juiced up right. I think that's going to be a fun one too. And then Mexico City. I don't know. Mexico City is a big question mark for me. I know that's still a couple weeks away, but it could be exciting. I don't, it's a road course kind of deal at this this big racetrack they have down there. I don't know much about it. I'm going to learn about it though, along with everybody else as we get closer to it. But some great racing in the Cup Series coming up, and the same deal for Xfinity. We got them at Texas. We got them at Charlotte. We got them at Nashville. We're in Mexico City as well, and then they'll be at Pocono in June. So that kind of gives you a little bit of insight to the next couple of weeks here. I think it'll be good stuff. We'll really enjoy some good racing out of the Cup and Xfinity cars, via tracks. So sorry about the internet today, boys and girls. Unfortunate that decided to give me a hard time. But I hope everybody's week. I'm gonna get my head in the books this week. I'm gonna be listening to some of the. I'm really excited to listen to Actions Detrimental. I didn't get a chance yesterday. It kind of came out later in the afternoon after I had already kind of wrapped up the day. I try to give myself off Mondays, in terms of the NASCAR stuff. It's kind of the first day back to work for me too in the real world. So getting caught up there and then kind of taking the day off in terms of staying up to date with NASCAR news. But here we are back on Tuesday. We're going to get cooking this week. We'll have some short form clips coming out that'll be looking stupendous and tremendous. And yeah, I mean, getting ready for Texas will be the priority after that. Sunday, where will I be Sunday for the race? I won't even be around. I'll be on an airplane. Good thing I'm not doing a show next week because I wouldn't have even been able to see it. I'll be watching highlights. Unfortunately. What time is that race? 3 o'clock? Usually 3 o'clock they run, right? Maybe we'll do a guest. We need to do a guest spot on here. I've seen people in the chat ask for it, but I think we need it in terms of like, I can only talk to myself for so long. Yeah, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. 12. I'll miss the whole race. I'll be in the sky. I'll miss the whole thing. I don't land in LA till 2. That's 5 o'clock Eastern time. So I'll miss most of that, unfortunately. But but yeah, I hope everybody has a great week. I know we're coming up 10 minutes shy today. Unless we have some things we want to talk about, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap it up. That's really it. I'm going to try to figure out the internet here. Glad everybody was able to tune in. Unstable internet connection. I'm so tired of seeing that damn notification pop up. Ken, thanks for sticking around. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody who stopped in today. Will and Frosty the Bear, Eddie Schmid. Who else we got? Chief, we're going to get Chief in here. He's asked twice now to be a guest. So I love to kind of get folks who are watching a lot. Like, I don't know about like doing like a dual stream. Maybe I'll do that like at night on my own one night. But I'd love to do like a guest piece where it's like a little short form, like 30 or 45-minute conversation where, you know, we do a recap of events. We'll do a little life update for Sal when it's cool, when it's relevant. And then maybe we'll do like a guest spot. I have a couple guests in mind that I want to try to get a hold of from the racing world. And maybe Taylor messaged me while I was chatting with you all. So maybe I could tap her on the shoulder and be able to slide in some DMs, some attention. But Stock Car Talk and SJ Williams. Appreciate everybody who stopped in. I try to own how I own a race car. Took a GoPro to work. There we go. Started a YouTube channel. We love this. Yes. People want to live vicariously, man. They want to know what it's about. They want to know what it's like. Hopefully you have good experiences with content. Don't read the comments on the good ones. People are always going to hate. So glad that you took that step and are doing that. I think to market yourself as a race car driver and as a brand and as a team. So that's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. Happy to, for another reason too, because of Happy Hour Racing. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, my shameless plug here at the end of the show. Happy Hour Racing is a proud sponsor of Above the Yellow Line Media. You can see the QR code up here in the corner of your screen on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter. You can scan that QR code, take you right to Happy Hour Racing's website. They have in terms of NASCAR merchandise. They do boxes, subscription boxes. I always talk about the subscription boxes. They do other things too, but the subscription box, like, innovative thing, because like every week, if you want to have a year's worth of race winners t-shirts for the year, I don't care who wins, you could sign up for that. You can sign up for your driver's merchandise when it comes out every week, every month. Get it. So check out Happy Hour Racing. Support the brands that support people that support us. And yeah, happy to have them involved. It's really great. Zero gravity race cars. Okay. I'll have to check it out on YouTube. That is my shameless plug for Happy Hour Racing. We're doing some work with some other brands too. Talking to some people for myself, hopefully to try to materialize into some broader sponsorship or ATYL or maybe some other people. Still very conversational. So if you'd like to be a part of the sponsorship group for Above the O-Line Media for Sal, DMs are open. Happy to help whoever I can. T-shirt sales, yeah, t-shirt sales are big. People make a lot of money on that. Or like content in general. If you can monetize your content through like vlogs, and people really are entertained by it's personality-driven content. That's the big piece. So if your personality-driven stuff is really going to get you the eyeballs, t-shirts and the merchandise is what's going to bring you that monetization as well. So I am so tired of seeing the TikTok disconnected notification come up. We are at almost 2 hours. So I want to just thank everybody again who tuned in today. Please, again, support the partners that support ATYL Media and support all here. that kind of give us that edge and get us ahead a little bit. Again, awesome stuff to see this week from those events. I was not there, but I loved all of you. I was an audience member this week watching the content come out, and it was awesome. So I'm really excited for NHRA stuff from us, but in general, and be more in tune with it. You can check Big Duke stuff. He's on a few things right now, so ready for that. And just, I don't know, just hit, stick around, and we will see in 2 weeks post All-Star race. We'll have a lot to talk. We'll be able to fill up 2 hours, no problem.